Everyone says that AI is crashing right now, and they're right. That's exactly why this is the best time to learn it. This chart explains why this moment is so important. A lot of people say that we are right here, and that's where they are right because of how most people are using AI right now. Do you remember the companies Pets.com, Webvan, or Boo.com? Probably not, because they all died right here. This part of the curve is called the trough of disillusionment. But this is the upward slope that came first and was the excitement around the internet that led to the dot-com crash of 2000, which most people say we are rounding the top of right now with AI. Now, have you heard of Amazon, PayPal, or Google? Of course you have. They were here also, but they lived and were huge successes. The internet didn't fail. Bad implementations failed. Now, we may be at the top of a bubble or hype cycle, but do you see what happens next? People stop playing with the technology and they start building it. This is where the money is made, because the internet is valuable, just like AI is valuable. Know the fundamentals and know it works so you can get the head start while everyone else gives up. This works for people too. Jobs are becoming increasingly difficult to obtain or even keep, not because people are replaceable, but because shallow skills are. This is why you need to learn AI agents. Not prompt tricks, not demos, real agents. Because the upward trending slope that comes next is the slope of enlightenment, where AI actually starts to fulfill all its promises instead of just being hyped. That's where agents fit in. Remember this, Amara's law. People tend to overestimate the short-term impact of new technologies while underestimating their long-term effects. Most people feel like AI has been overhyped this year with their short-term visions. But the builders will benefit from what it does over the next. Let me show you how, and we'll make a simple AI agent that makes decisions and takes action. Take the first step and go to n8n and create an account. We're going to be creating this agent that can book appointments and send emails. Then, once you do this, we can build on this skill to do other cool things, like make an agent that can make phone calls, or make an agent that can reply to your customer service emails based on your customer service playbook. To get started, you'll just press on this plus sign on the top left to create a new workflow. We're going to add the brain of the agent. Type in AI agent. Click on that first one. And you'll see a lot of options here. We'll X out for just a second so you can see everything going on here. And so you can see that there are a few different things going on. There's some inputs, outputs, and then there's some more actions here on the bottom. This just means that this is going to act whenever we send it a message, a lot like a ChatGPT is going to act. And so you can even open this up and then type in a message and send it. And right now it says error because we don't have anything set up with the AI agent. So let's get that set up. So we'll just click onto the AI agent and add some connections here. So you can see that this chat input came through. It says hi, it says the action was send message, and so on. What we're going to do here is actually leave all of this information for just a moment, and we're going to add the chat model. We'll just go with ChatGPT here, so we'll type in OpenAI. It's their company. Then once you're here, you're going to need to connect it with your credentials at the top. You'll do that by pressing this drop-down menu and pressing Create New Credential, and then you'll need an API key. And that's not too hard to do. You just go to a new tab, type in OpenAI API key, grab that first link, and then log into the API platform. You'll press Get Started, create an API key, then press Create New Secret Key on the top right, give it a name, then press Create Secret Key. Then you're going to copy this API key and paste it into that place over here in the OpenAI account credential. It is really important that you do not forget this API key, so make sure you save it in a safe place, but also in a place that nobody can access it, because anybody who has access to this API key will be able to access your ChatGPT account and use your credits. So make sure that's in a safe place and that you copy and paste that into this OpenAI account. As soon as you save it, you'll see a little sign that pops up green, and then you'll want to make sure you come back here and add some credits so it works. To do that, you'll just click on Usage, Edit Budget, Billing, and then you can add credits to your balance, and you can see that I got $351 left. Adding $5 is plenty to do what we're doing right now and can go really far. So we'll go back to n8n. You'll save that, make sure it goes green, and then select that credential. Next, you can pick the model. There's a lot of different options that you can use. We'll just stick with the 4.1 mini because we don't need anything that deep. Then you can come down here and add tools. The most common one that I add is just the web search, so we can have access to real-time information like things like the news or the weather of the day. That way we can get accurate information that's up to date from our GPT and our agent. So we'll add that, and then we can leave all of this information here the same. We'll X out, and we've got our chat model hooked up. So now when I send a message through chat, you'll see that it actually has a reply. You can ask it a question like, what was the score of the most recent Eagles game? And you can see that it pulled the most recent game where they lost 24-17. You can check Google for that. 24-17, Washington Commanders. Great, so now you'll realize though, if you ask a follow-up question like, give me a summary of the game, it'll have no idea what we're talking about, and that's because it has no memory attached to this. So what we're gonna do is just press plus there, and we're gonna add some simple memory. This is really easy. All we have to do is add a context window length, and this length is basically how many messages it's gonna be able to look back on and refer to when you're in the conversation. And so if you want it to refer to only the most recent message, you'll press 1, and it's gonna forget everything before that. But if you do 5, it'll be the 5 most recent messages in the conversation. So I think 5 is great for now, and we can run it again. And you can see that we've got the score again, and I'll ask a follow-up question. And now it knows what we're talking about, and it gives us the summary of the game. Great, so now that that's all set up, we can now set up for the tools of this thing and turn what this is just a brain of the AI agent to a complete AI agent that can actually do stuff for us. And as we talked about earlier, we're gonna set it up so it can set appointments for us and send emails. And the way that we do that is we add tools here. So we're gonna press on the plus sign right by the tools and type in Gmail. And then we'll add in all of this information for setting up the Gmail tool. Again, you're gonna have to connect another credential here through Gmail this time instead of OpenAI. So you'll hit this drop down and then press create new credential, and you'll have to enter in this client ID and client secret. Then there are some documents here that you can click on, and it'll show you how to fill in that information. But what I recommend doing is clicking on this video right here, where I walk you through all the steps on how to get this information and put it in. Once you're done with that, press on the X, make sure you're connected with your credential. Then we'll start filling out this information. We'll leave all of these boxes the same, and then we're gonna press these stars right here, which says let the model define this parameter. And so this is where we start to use our AI agent to be smart and to start making decisions for us. So we're gonna let the AI agent decide who it should send this message to. So it says defined automatically by the model. We'll do the same thing with the subject, and then we'll do the same thing with the message as well. Perfect, we'll X out of that, and we're done with that tool. We'll add in one more tool and then we'll test it. That tool is gonna be the one to create an event in the Google Calendar. So you'll press on this plus sign again to create another tool. So this AI agent is going to be able to decide which tool it should use, if any of them at all. So we'll press this plus, type in calendar. Then again, you're gonna create another credential using that same client ID and client secret that we learned how to do from that video that you watched earlier. You'll save it and X out. You'll make sure that you're selected on your credential. We can leave these first two the same for now. And this operation should be create. We want it to add an event to the calendar. And then you can see here, we can also add other actions for this tool to do in the future if we want. So it can get events and tell us about events that are on our calendar. It can add events, we can update events. There's a few different options here, which is great. We'll leave it as create for now. Then make sure you click on the calendar that you want it to use from Google Calendar. I'll just go with our andromedusai calendar. And then we're gonna pick the start time for the event to be picked by the model, as well as the end time. That way it can pick when the event starts and ends and put the exact time into our calendar. Finally, we'll scroll to the bottom and add 2 extra fields that we want the model to define. It'll be the description and the summary. And by adding these 2 fields, we're gonna be able to let the model decide what the title is going to be and the description of the event. Again, we'll let the model define it. And we're good to go. Let's X out of here and try it out. So I'm just gonna reset this chat session. That way it's not pulling from any of our history with our simple memory here. So you just do that by pressing this arrow, and we'll test this out. So let's write a message, and it says send an email to Marty at andromedusai@gmail.com saying, hey, I'm testing out these AI agents. And you can see it working. It's going to the chat model using the simple memory, and then it also sent a message through Gmail. And so we'll go to our email and see how it did. And there's our email, and it says, hey, I'm testing out these AI agents. And so our agent knew to send us an email at that specific email. So that's pretty great. There's a couple things we can do to touch this up. Like it says this email was sent automatically with n8n. We don't want that because that's not clean. And so we can fix that by just going to the Gmail node again, scrolling to the bottom and hitting add option, and then append n8n attribution, and then removing that. And then just for time's sake and personal experience, I know that if we move this to text, the formatting will be a little bit better with the email as well. Then we can make the formatting even better by going to the main AI agent and giving it some extra instructions. So right now, it's only pulling the instructions from the chat input that you see here on the left side. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add an option. It's gonna be a system message. Right now, it comes preloaded with that message saying you're a helpful assistant, but we're gonna give this information that it's gonna be able to use every single time, no matter what the user message is. And so we're gonna make a section here, and I just use these hashtags here. It's markdown format for just saying it's a new section, and we're gonna write down our tools. So first we're gonna name the tools here so it knows what tools it has available to it. So this first tool will be send an email, and it did pretty good the first time, but we'll just give it a reminder for how it's supposed to use this tool. And we'll say only call this if the user asks you to send an email. Send the email using this tool. Then we'll add this other line addressing the formatting that we talked about earlier. And it says always address the recipient at the beginning on its own line, then sign off the email with my name, Marty, on its own line as well. And then while we're here, we'll just add the other tool real quick so it knows all of the tools that it has available for it. And that will be the create an event tool. We'll give it a quick description. We'll say only call this tool if the user asks you to book an appointment. Book the appointment using this tool. Schedule everything in Mountain Time. That way it'll come through accurately on my calendar. And the last thing that we'll want to do for that calendar is tell the AI agent what time it is right now. So you'll just hit enter twice. You'll do these two open curly brackets, then the money symbol, now, then the close curly brackets. And then you'll change that to an expression. And you can see that it adds the date time. Pretty much the only coding that we're going to be doing here. It just tells the system what the time is right now. Okay, let's run this and see what happens. So I'll try that same message again. We'll go back to Gmail, refresh the page. And okay, it looks like it cleaned up that n8n message here at the bottom, but it needs a little bit more testing with the prompt that we used. And this is actually great practice because you do need to do some prompting when you're working with these AI agents to get it right. Let's look at this and see what we can do. Okay, let's specify that this needs to be in the body of the email. In the body of the email, always address the recipient at the beginning on its own line, then sign off the email with my name, Marty, on its own line. Okay, let's see if that makes it more clear for the AI agent. So we'll reset the session and then try it again. We'll say something like, send an email to Joey saying, how are things going on the project? His email is andromedus@gmail.com. Check our email, refresh the page. And there it goes. Joey, how are things going on the project? Marty. And as you saw before, you can keep updating this message to be better and better to get exactly what you want and the kind of formatting you want in the emails and other things that are very specific to you. Let's try the calendar one real quick. And we'll say, book an appointment for me to go to a basketball game tonight at 7 p.m. We'll send it. And look at that. It knew not to use the Gmail tool, and so it's not sending a message in Gmail and went straight to the Google Calendar tool. So the agent is smart enough to be able to figure out which tool it needs to use just from our messages that we're sending. And this is the power of AI agents and why it can be so exciting, especially when you start adding more and more tools with the different types of ideas of things that you have for how it can be used. So we'll go to our calendar to check and see if it got it. And there it is, booked at 7 p.m. It's got basketball game and all. And you click on it and it has a description, basketball game event, and it was even smart enough to put it from 7 to 9 p.m. The one thing that you will notice here, it booked it for Friday, not Thursday, and that has to do with the time zone that we're in. And so if we just go up here to those three dots and hit settings, you can change the settings from whatever the default is to where you're at. So I'll just put this in the Denver time zone to get that Mountain Standard Time. Hit save, and we can try that one more time. I'll copy that, clear out the session, paste in that message, and there it is, working again. We'll go back to our calendar, and you can see that the game is now for tonight from 7 to 9 p.m. Now, as a quick bonus tip, what's really neat about these AI agents is it doesn't have to be limited just here to n8n. You can actually put this in your pocket with your phone with the apps that you use every day. So you can add this to Discord, Slack, or Telegram, and then you can access something like this throughout the day from your phone. So I'll show you a quick example of how we can do this with Telegram. We'll just come over here and delete when this chat message is received. So it's used on a different trigger. We'll add a Telegram trigger. Go down to the triggers, on message, and then again, you're going to connect your credential. And the way that you'll do that is by pressing create new credential, and you'll enter in your access token, and you'll learn how to do that from this video. And I promise that's actually a pretty quick video, less than 2 minutes in fact. Then you'll X out, make sure you're selected on that credential. We can X out again, and we can hook up this Telegram trigger to our AI agent. Next, we're going to make a quick fix in the AI agent. That way it can communicate with the Telegram trigger. And to be able to do that pretty simply, we're actually just going to send a message in Telegram really quick. So you'll press this play sign right by the Telegram trigger, and you'll send a message. And you'll see that it executed successfully. And it's only green here because it hasn't executed on the AI agent yet. That's the advantage of just pressing that little play sign right there instead of executing the entire workflow. Because now we can go into the AI agent, and the advantage of doing this is that you'll be able to come over here and see all this information that came from the Telegram trigger. And we're going to use that information to tell the AI agent what we just said in our message. So instead of this being to the connected chat trigger node, it's going to be defined below because we're not using the chat trigger node that we had from before. And it's going to be from prompt. And the prompt's actually going to be the text from the Telegram message. So all you have to do is click and drag that little text label and put it in the prompt user message box. And you can see below it says, hey, testing. So now it should be receiving that message. We can just press execute step to see it run. And it says there's an error in simple memory. So let's go check it out. Click on simple memory. And it looks like it's having a problem with the session ID, and that's because it's still connected to the chat trigger node, just like the AI agent was. So we're going to define this below, and the key, we'll just go to mapping, is going to come from this chat ID right here. We'll X out of that, and try running that AI agent again. Then you can click on this output, and you can see that the AI agent is saying, hey, I see your message loud and clear. How can I assist you today? But if you look at Telegram, it's not responding to that yet. And that's because we have to add one more node. So we'll press X here and add one more item. We'll hit this plus, type in Telegram, scroll down to send a text message, and then make sure it's connected to your correct credential. The resource is going to be message. It's going to send a message. The chat ID we'll do in a moment. The output is going to be whatever the AI agent says the output is. And so right now it says that, hey, I see your message loud and clear. So we'll just click and drag the label from output into the text it should send. Then we'll open up this Telegram trigger and then click and drag the chat ID into the chat ID spot. We'll X out and give it one more test. So I sent the message. We'll just hit execute workflow one more time so that it knows to listen for the message. And there we go. It says, got your test message. Everything is working fine. What would you like to do next? Well, what we want to do next is get rid of this message was automatically sent with n8n. Same deal with the Gmail node. We'll just go in there, add a field, append n8n attribution, and get rid of it. And then we'll test that one more time. Test. And then execute workflow. And you won't have to press that execute workflow every single time, only when it's in this test environment. As soon as you hit this publish button, you'll be able to send a message and get a response from your agent anytime a message is sent through Telegram. So we'll go to Telegram, and it says test received again, ready whenever you are for your next request. And it doesn't have that n8n message. So we can save that, and we'll test it one more time to see if you'll still book appointments and send emails. And the message says, hi, please book an appointment to play disc golf tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and then send an email to Jaden telling him about it. His email is andromedusai@gmail.com. Then we'll hit execute workflow. And you can see that it did both create an event and send a message in Gmail, so that's great. It says that the appointment is booked, and it sent an email to him, and so we can check and see about that email. And it looks like the email worked out well. We'll check out the appointment, and the appointment is also there for tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So there you have it. You've created your first AI agent, and you've made AI more useful just in this small example. Make sure you like and subscribe so you catch my other videos so you can learn more on how to take this further and find out more possibilities on what you can do with this. Also, make sure that you join my free Skool community where you can find the template for this AI agent that we just created today, and where you can reach out to me personally if you have any questions on what to do with this or with any other AI projects that you're working on in the future. I'll catch you in the next one.